E la Lazio, merda! E la Lazio, merda! E la Lazio, merda! Fogna de sta città! What's up, guys? Good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. It is yet another Derby della Capitale lived together. Well, it's on Sunday. We will live it together. And I'm very excited because there is no more important game than this one. There is no game that gets you anxious, nervous, going like this one. And, it's the importance of the game, the importance of the passion of the game on both the two sides. It's always very, very, very well and very, very good to play them. Of course, it's even more important and essential to win them, because if you lose them, then it's a tragedy, it's a disaster. But yeah, guys, we have to analyze this together. We have to talk about this together. I will be at the stadium on Sunday, of course, so hopefully there will be an incredibly lit matchday vlog coming your way. We have to talk about this game. We have to talk about this game because a derby is a derby, and we spoke about a lot of derbies in the past. But this derby is different because we've got a new manager, because we've got a manager who's never played it before, because it's a derby which is very early into the season, because it's a lunchtime derby. And can we please all take a second to go like this and say, fuck you, lunchtime derbies? Absolute nonsense. There are a lot of factors which I look at, which I analyze, put together and go, something tells me that this is going to be a different one. Of course, the game is the same, but yeah, I sense something. And we have to speak about things that we haven't usually spoken about because of some circumstances which have fallen together to make this derby present. In the meantime, first things off, before we get kick-started, is everybody hit the like button. It's a derby. It's the most important game of the season. If the adrenaline is rushing since Monday. I lived derbies 7 days before. Starting from the seventh day before, I start to get like nausea and all of that beauty. But it's part of the derby, I guess. I think it wouldn't be a derby if you don't live it like this. I think it is a derby also because you live these games like this, with these adrenaline and these emotions. So number one, hit the like button. Number two, I want to know what everyone thinks about this game. I'm very curious to read them, and I'm going to make this match preview last a little longer because, of course, it's a derby special one. So if you are watching this live, I want to ask you to let me know in the live chat how you think this game evolves, how this game will develop. I'm not asking for predictions because, frankly speaking, I don't want predictions. Predictions bring bad luck in derbies. I just want to feel how you guys are living this derby, because of all the factors that we accumulated together, which makes it a different kind of derby. I want to know what everybody thinks, what everybody is breathing in their room right now. Because I would be very curious to know that. With that being said, I think we can start analyzing this game. It's not an easy analogy. It's not. It's not an easy analogy. I've sat down for the last hour trying to understand this game, trying to crack the code to this game, trying to crack the Leonardo code to this game. And it's not an easy one. As I said before, and as I keep saying, it's not an easy derby to crack. So yeah, let's try and crack this. First of all, little context before the specific analysis. A derby, I say this every time we speak about a derby. A derby is a different game. Fitness, form, and everything literally go out of the window. You can't analyze a derby based on past results. That's something that I tend to always say. You can't analyze and trying to give a prediction to a derby game. And this is, I think, the Rome derby especially, but derbies around the world, you can never, especially heated ones, you can never analyze them and give a final prediction based on, oh well, that team won the last 3 games, the other team didn't, they're clearly the favorite. No, that's not how it works. Fitness and form go out of the window. These games are all about experience, character and balls. Whoever wins this game will be the team that has the most experience, not necessarily, even more important, has the most character, has the most balls. And this is where I already bring the first why it's a different derby type thing. Dybala and Paredes are out. I mean, Paredes is no longer a Roma player. Dybala is out. Paredes is no longer here. So already with Dybala and Paredes not here anymore, well, Dybala yes, but he's injured, I can already say that I expect less aggressiveness on our behalf. No, maybe it's the wrong term. It's not aggressiveness. Shithousery. I expect less shithousery from our behalf. And sometimes shithousery are very important in these games because you wind the opponents up. You can store little tantrums and then it might lead to a red card. These are games that players live, every player lives in a different way. Paredes was somebody who lived these games in a very heated way, and personally he was always there, prepared the shithousery against Rovella, whether it was Guendouzi, Dybala, remember. So already without that Argentinian duo, I can say that I expect a calmer Roma side. A Roma side that will only start provocations if they're losing the game. Okay, Mancini aside, of course, but Mancini has evolved. Mancini is not the same player he was 2 years ago in these derbies. He isn't. After the goal he scored in the derby with the De Rossi manager derby, Mancini is no longer that shithousery player in derbies anymore. He's matured. Paredes was much more of a shithousery last season, and Dybala as well. So that's the first thing. But that's a little detail which just puts to show that it's a different one. It's hard to analyze this. Yeah. So first thing is that fitness form out of the window. As I always say, there's this myth in Rome which says that whoever gets worse to the derby wins it. It's not usually the case, but there are cases in the past where the team which arrives to the derby in the weakest form wins it. And this is where I want to speak about the two teams. I want to speak about the two teams and compare them, because I think if there's one thing that worries me on, of course, my behalf, because I'm a Roma fan, we're a Roma fan, one thing that I think is a negative side of this derby for us is the fact that it's Gasperini's first one and it's not Sarri's first one. And that is not an element that you easily scrap away. Mark my words, it's not. Sarri has already lived more than one derby. Gasperini hasn't. He has in Genova. When he was the Genoa manager, he lived a lot of Derby della Lanterna together. And that's a very heated derby as well. So I'm not saying he doesn't know how to prepare a derby, because that would be false to say. But Derby della Capitale is different. Derby della Capitale is the most heated one in Italy for sure. One of the most heated in Europe, in the world. So to be a new manager, you get that pressure hit. You're like, what happens if I lose? Do they put me under the bus? How do I prepare this? Do I keep a standard formation and trying to favor the defense, or do I go with my football concepts, but however know that in this game they can risk it? And if I risk losing, what are the consequences? So I can bet you that there are many questions in Gasperini's mind right now. Questions that Sarri will have, but that Sarri has already had previously. Okay, so that is not something to scrap away immediately. Neno, grazie mille per essere diventato membro. Ti ringrazio. Let me quickly read the other comments. Where are the Roma fans meeting before the game? Let me just, I'll get to those questions at the end. Now we're Pellegrini as well. Yeah, we'll get onto those in a second. I'll show you my predicted 11. We have to break this game down first. So the manager difference is important. Now, however, both teams are coming from very poor performances last weekend. Now, I just said that form and fitness go out of the window, but I need to try and use what I have seen in the first 3 games on both Roma's side and Lazio's side to explain how the two get to this game, okay? I think there's a difference, which on this side depends on our side. From what I've seen in the first 3 games, I saw a Lazio team which still isn't convinced in the tools that Sarri has displayed. I saw a Lazio team who played a terrible game against Como and played an even worse game against Sassuolo, and in between they got a little confidence boost with a good solid win at home against Verona. Lazio, in my opinion, the players aren't suited to the way Sarri wants to play. And as a result of this, I think the team doesn't believe in what they're doing, which is why they lost terribly 2 out of the 3 games and they started very badly. The atmosphere around Lazio is not the most positive. I've got a lot of Lazio friends who would kill Lotito. Like, they would. They genuinely would. They can't wait until that man sells the club because they believe that he is limiting their objectives. And partly I agree. You know, I don't want to kind of agree with them, but they're all right. He's a terrible owner. The fact that they had a blocked transfer session. These are all elements that, you know, the atmosphere isn't the healthiest. Fans are mad. Fans are mad against the owners. They're coming from 2 defeats out of 3 against 2 teams that aren't teams that are going to make the top 4. So, you know, the atmosphere, the emotions around Lazio, the feelings around Lazio aren't the most positive. And I think compared to us, Lazio this season will kind of stick with these trends of win a game, then they go to Sassuolo and they lose a game, and then they lose another game, and then they win a game very confidently. They're going to be very bouncy this season. Because, as I said before, I see a team that doesn't suit the way Sarri wants to play, and Sarri is very methodological. And on the other side, I see a team that isn't, up to now at least, believing in what Sarri wants to do. So, first of all, that is something that, on their side, depends on our side. We also lost the last game in a very bad way. But I think the defeat against Torino, compared to the defeat that Lazio had against Sassuolo, I would call it a more learning defeat. It's an educative defeat. It's an educational defeat. It's a defeat that hurts, but I see it as a defeat that the players grasped a lot of things from. The players understood that they can't not commit to the way Gasperini wants to play. Because otherwise, nothing will work out if they don't commit to the manager's ideas, okay? So, compared the 2 defeats, both bad defeats, and I'm not saying we deserve to win, but, you know, I see it more as a defeat that happens over the course of this project, which will take time, as we said, moving towards the way Gasperini wants to play. But the tools that Gasperini has at Roma are more dangerous and sharp than the tools that Sarri has at Lazio, even without Paulo Dybala, yes. Because I think this is going to be a game where both teams are going to lack somebody which changes the game. But out of the 2 teams, we've got the... I see this game as Zaccagni against Sule. I look at the 2 players and I'm like, who can grind it out the most? Who can win? Who can score a goal out of nowhere and potentially win you the game? I stick with Sule, not because I'm a Roma player, because I think he's a better player than Zaccagni. So I agree. Both teams don't have a lot of quality when it comes to winning the game, picking up the team on their shoulders. I see this game as a Zaccagni against Sule. Yeah, I do. It's Zaccagni against Sule and Castellanos if he plays against Ferguson, if he was to click. Okay, so again, having said these things and having displayed the ideas on the desk, it's a confusing one to analyze. It's a confusing one to analyze. It's a hard one to tell. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to tip a favorite from. It is because it's very, very hard to analyze the derby after 4 games. And that's the other point where I want to bring it to. The other reason that makes it such a complicated game to analyze is the fact that it's an early derby. And I don't like early derbies. Number one, I hate derbies during the summer, even worse during lunchtime when it's hot and you sweat. No, like derby for me is like a cold atmosphere, scarf and hat, that suspense building up, going towards the stadium. On Sunday, you wake up and you're in the stadium, basically. So I don't like the fact that it's very early. Of course, we can't control this. It's completely random. But it's another element. It's another element that all of these elements added up together bring you to this uncertainty. Or early derbies are hard to analyze because both teams are not definitive. Both teams just started their progressions. Both teams just started their projects. Both teams just started displaying their ideas. And even on an aggressive point of view, the teams have less to prove against each other. Last season, we played the derby Lazio-Roma, the derby that Sule equalized with that banger of a goal. That game was played literally 4 days before Lazio was playing the second leg in the Europa League quarterfinal at home against Bodo Glimt. So, being very early into the season, both teams have less to prove to each other. Lazio in that game were like, look at me. I've got a derby today, and then I've got a quarterfinal in 3 days. What about you? You're a loser. You're out of Europe. Okay? Early into the season, teams are less definitive. Teams know less about each other. And it's going to be a waiting game. Which is why I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. Yes. Derbies are usually low-scoring, not that it's a surprise. Especially in these modern times. I struggle to remember multiple derbies that ended with more than 2 goals, 3 goals max. Like, they are low-scoring games recently. They've all been like to get you the last derby schedules. Hang on. Look. Let me just go here. Look. Last 5 derbies. Let's go. Last 5 derbies. 1-1, 2-0, 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, 1-0. So apart from the 2-0 derby last season in January, the last 6 derbies out of 7 only had 1 or 2 goals. No, sorry. 5 of the last 7 derbies only had 1 goal, max. 2 of these 7 had 2 goals total. So they are low-scoring games. And in this one especially, I see a low-scoring game. I would not exclude, I really don't want this to happen, but I wouldn't exclude a 0-0 derby. And you're like, oh my god, please no. And I agree, I have your same reaction, because 0-0 derbies are one of the most boring shits ever. But this can be a 0-0 derby. Because it's early into the season, teams are studying each other. Both teams are coming from a defeat. So both teams know that if they were to lose this, the fans would sort of get mad. They would, especially Lazio, who, if they lose this derby, would have lost 3 out of 4 games. Not even us last season when we started that badly. And even Roma, Gasperini knows that if he loses this one, after that Torino defeat, the atmosphere will start getting to him after that good two-game start. So in a situation where you've got 2 soldiers fighting each other, maybe they will get to a situation in the game that makes them want to go better 2 wounded than 1 dead. And they kind of acknowledge that whoever loses this one will be in very big trouble, and therefore they're going to take less risks, open up less, and eventually score less goals and not hurt each other. So the 2 wounded rather than 1 dead scenario is a possible one in this one. It is. But on the other side, I guess that both teams want to win this because they know that if they beat the other respective team, they can dig them down and they can send them to hell. So it's also going to be a big incentive for both teams to win this, because if we win it, not only do we win the derby, but we would actually incastrate Lazio. 3 defeats out of 4 is not easy to accept. Same with Lazio. Lazio need a reaction. They want to win. Not only do they win the derby if they win, but they would push us down. So, look, predicted 11. We've got players missing, of course. Paolo, number 1, missed player tomorrow, on Sunday. Other than that, we have Wesley and Hermoso who are in doubt. Wesley for a gastrointestinal issue, so tummy ache, and Hermoso, nothing major, but he skipped today's training session for a little minor muscle issue. If there's one of the 2 which starts, I think it's Hermoso. I don't think Wesley will start because Wesley missed 2 out of the last training sessions. And going into this game, it's very important to have training sessions, especially for a new player like him who's never played this game before. So I definitely think that the predicted 11 on our side is this. Svilar in goal, Ndika, Mancini and Cilic in a back 3. Wrench, Cristante, Kone, Angelino, Sule, El Shaarawy and Evan up front. I was thinking of this genius move actually, but then I was like, no, he's not going to do it because he's going to learn from his mistakes and he won't change much because he can't change much. Because these are games where you don't have to be tactically mastermind your opponents. These are not those games. And for a tactician like a Gasperini, it's important for him to understand no risks, no genius moves, standard 11, grind it out. These are not games where you have to prove us wrong or tactically mastermind Maurizio Sarri. No, I don't care. Like derby, whether you win 1-0 or 7-0, still nothing changes. So yeah, my genius move was to put Angelino next to Sule instead of El Shaarawy and put Tsimikas down there. It's actually not a bad move. Like, I actually would second this. I would, but not in this game. Against Verona next weekend, or even against Nice, that Paolo is out, I would definitely do this. Absolutely do this. Because I think Angelino is very technical. Angelino doesn't like defending. Angelino likes crossing, dribbling, and attacking. Put him next to Sule. And now that you've got Tsimikas, put Tsimikas instead of Angelino. So hire Angelino up. It's a genius move that I would do, but I don't think he's going to do it on Sunday. And frankly speaking, I don't want us to risk these things on Sunday. No, we already risked too much against Torino. We can't change. Standard 11. And yeah, that's pretty much it. People say El Enawi. I think in these games, the less players that have never played the derby before on the pitch, the better. I know it's crazy, but it's all a mental game. And in fact, I'm actually glad that Wesley isn't starting this one, because as much as he's a good tool that can contrast to Nuno Tavares on that side, Wesley is somebody who panics. And in these games, Wesley can pull the Ibanez move, and I can picture Wesley back passing the ball wrongly and then scoring. Like, it's something that I can visually imagine. So Wrench on, not that Wrench played the derby before, but he lived the derby. He lived the anticipation of the derby last season. So yeah, I think that is going to be my predicted 11. If there's one doubt on that one, it's probably Cilic. If Hermoso is ready to play, Hermoso starts. Otherwise, it's probably going to be Cilic. Last good comment. Pellegrini. Let's open the Pellegrini parenthesis. Because yes, Pellegrini is kind of the forgotten one. Pellegrini is like, nobody even knows where he is. He isn't training. Like, he is training. He isn't playing. He isn't getting subbed in. Where is Pellegrini? Now, I say careful. Do not ignore that man in these games. If there's one game that I still think Pellegrini feels the most out of all, and that's a fact. If there's one game that Pellegrini loves to perform a masterclass in and loves to prove everyone wrong in, it's this one. So with Pellegrini, I say, I don't think he'll start because he doesn't have the minutes in, and it's better for him to come in and kill the icebreaker than start. I question whether he's in a fitness position, optimal fitness position to even get subbed in. But I say careful. Don't ignore him in these games. Don't undermine him in these games, because I think even a Pellegrini who has been put out of the team by its own club, a Pellegrini which literally the majority of Roma fans have now turned against, if there's one game where he would love to prove everyone wrong, it's this one. It's absolutely this one. So, I mean, my crazy betting tip here is, don't do it. Do it only if he starts. But if you see Pellegrini in the starting 11 with Paulo Dybala out, you get $10 and you put them on a Pellegrini goal. That's what you do. If you see Pellegrini in the starting 11, you have to put $10 on him to score, because these are the games that he feels the most out of everyone on that pitch, both on our side and his side. So I don't think he'll start. But man, I would love a Pellegrini goal in this one. I would love it. I would love it because I think he's gone through a lot. And I'm the first one to say that I think Pellegrini at Roma is done. But I'm also the first one who really hopes in this redemption arc. And what better way than start it against the rivals of your lifetime at their home ground. Like, it would be a neoclassical novel type shit. Right, let's get to the comments. Where are the Roma fans meeting before the game? The bridge in front of the stadium. Or if you want to catch the bus going into the ground, then a bit like close to the tennis courts and where they play the tennis tournament in May. What are your expectations for the Europa League? Also, the night derbies are always the best, but in the mornings they're the worst. Yeah, lunchtime derbies are terrible. Absolutely terrible. Lunchtime derbies are terrible. Like, I can't even imagine waking up. Like, you have to start with the beers at 10 a.m. Like, who fucking drinks beer at 10 a.m.? Like, I wouldn't even do it if I were British. Like, you just don't, like, your intestine wakes up and says, no, don't feed me beer. But you're kind of forced to. Lunchtime derbies are terrible. Lunchtime derbies are terrible because you, especially in September, like, the sweat, the sun. I was roasting against Torino last weekend, and I don't think we created one good chance. Imagine if we score a last minute winner, which I would love. Imagine the sweat, and imagine lunchtime derbies. Like they did this because of security reasons, because of what happened in April. But you're not gonna stop security reasons by putting a derby in the morning, in the early after. You're not. It's not like you put the derby at 12:30 and the ultras are gonna go, right. I'm not gonna fight because there's the sun up. I only fight when it's pitch black. Like what kind of criteria is that? There were fans that literally turn up to this game only to beat themselves up. And you think that by simply putting a derby at lunchtime, you're gonna stop the tantrum? No, you're not. There are gonna be fights. There is gonna be violence. I've read that international ultras from both the Roma side and the Lazio side are waited in Rome. So, yeah, like I think it's nonsense. I think it's absolute nonsense. Of course, the reason behind this is the fact that at night it's harder to control these situations, and I agree. Of course, pitch black at night, it's harder to control and identify people and everything. Absolutely, but it's not like if you put it at 12:30, the ultras are gonna go, "There's the sun. Oh, I'm not gonna punch anyone tonight." Which brings me on to say, of course, these games also because of these reasons, and yeah, but be careful if you're going with kids, if you're going with your family, if you're going with your friends, if you're going with your wife, girlfriend, anyone, or even if you're going by yourself. Be careful, because yes, it is true that the ultras do the fighting, but it takes one blink to be in the middle of the situation. So yeah, be careful. Of course, that's something that has to be said. I respect ultras, but that's not. I don't wake up on Saturday and go fight. No, that's not my job. I'm gonna leave that to the ultras. So yeah. 3 points are mandatory, but incoming a 0-0 draw. Va in distinti? No, purtroppo non sto in distinti perché stavo prendendo i biglietti con il gruppo di miei amici e non ci siamo riusciti tutti insieme. Quindi siamo Montemario lato sud, laterale. Però ci mettiamo, proviamo a infiltrarci come l'altro anno. Not an issue. It generally means you can't go out on Saturday night as well. Appalling stuff, says Paolo. Black T-shirt was such a bad call last weekend. Oh man, last week, like I genuinely think if I had sat on that seat for another 30 minutes last Sunday, I would have had a heat stroke. I'm not even joking. I would have. It was terrible, and in the last Sunday, I had the sun in front of my eyes for 90 minutes. I literally spent the entire game like this. There is no more annoying thing. There isn't. Trust me, there isn't. Which is why lunchtime derbies are fucking shit. Would you rather have Lazio play without Tati or Rovella? Bring them on. Give me them how they are. Well, if Castellanos doesn't play, Pedro plays, and I'd rather Castellanos plays than Pedro, because if Pedro plays, he scores 100%, 100%. So yeah, maybe that. Right, guys, I'm gonna end it. We analyzed it well. Glad we analyzed it, because I think we did a good and proper analogy of the game. I'm gonna leave you because I am supposed to go to a horror escape room with with friends. Girlfriend, oh my god, I really didn't want to go, but I was forced into it. If there's one thing that really scares the shit out of me, it's like horror things and horror houses and that. So I can't even imagine what an escape room with horror actors inside will be like. I don't even know if I will be alive for Sunday's derby. So yeah, I'm gonna catch you tomorrow. Hopefully I don't die tonight. And yeah, hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Lazio merda sempre, the rats of the city, the vomit of the city. Because AS Roma, as always and forever, is the choice of the people. So I'm gonna catch you tomorrow. And then on Sunday, we, of course, will have the big day. The big day. Big Ben Day. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you agree, disagree, let me know in the comments. If you agree or disagree, let me know in the comments your thoughts on this game. I don't want predictions. Don't let me know about predictions. I will not be reading them. And I will be completely ignoring predictions. Just let me know your orientations regarding this game. What you think. Forza Roma sempre, carica! And yeah, I'll catch you soon. Simo out.